Okay, we're going to try this today. See how the mic picks up while I ride with an open face. And we'll divert the air around. So, just picked up lunch. Gonna head back to the office. So a little update. Last time I made a video, I was preparing to leave for Tail of the Dragon, the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, and eventually down to Atlanta for the Steel Conference. And that was supposed to happen in April. Well, once you know it, April 16th, I woke up feeling all kind of weird, out of balance. Sometimes, if you get up too fast in the morning and you feel a little lightheaded. But that did not go away. And I got pretty worried as the morning went on. Everybody had left. And I ended up calling the ambulance to come pick me up. Well, that was a scary experience, but I had very little stability. I needed to hold on to things just to get around the house, and it didn't seem to go away with breakfast or having anything to drink like cranberry juice or anything. So they tested me out. They did a CAT scan and everything to make sure I wasn't having a stroke. They did all these neurological movements as well, tests to make sure all my response was good. And after some IV fluids and some discussion throughout the day, everything seemed pretty good, and they let me go home that evening. Well, fast forward another day, and I ended up having more symptoms. I was driving my daughter and her friend and my wife. We were going up to State College, and it got to the point where some of this air. It got to the point where I felt a little funny driving, so I pulled over. But once that motion stopped from driving, I went to get out of the car and pretty much stumbled completely to my left, even though I thought, and I was trying to walk around the car to my right. And I knew something was obviously really wrong at that point. So we drove the next few minutes, got to a place. My wife was able to make some phone calls. Got some medicine, which basically was Dramamine, to try to reduce the symptoms, the motion sickness, so to speak. And later that afternoon, after a few attempts at rest and different things, I actually got sick. And that made me feel a lot better. But it was only temporary. Then the symptoms started to come back again, and my wife had to drive home, and I basically had to keep my head still and my vision on the horizon, and I was just really uncomfortable. And I ended up going back to the ER that evening when we got back. Figured if I went back to the same place, I was just there, and all the information that I went through on that Thursday, they would have access to. So I even grabbed my hospital band, and my wife got me there that evening. It was Saturday evening. At this point, the trip was out of the question. No idea what was wrong, what was causing it. could barely walk under my own power. You know, I had to lean on my wife. She had to help me. And we got to the ER. Eventually got admitted. Had another CT scan to confirm everything against Thursday. You know, I pushed for the MRI because the neurologist, you know, said he would have given me an MRI on Thursday if I had, you know, such and such symptoms. You know, room spinning, nausea, unable to get up off the floor, that type of stuff. Well, I didn't have any of that Thursday, but now, you know, I was sick. I could barely walk under my own power, you know, like I was severely leaning on my wife to hold me up. Something's majorly wrong. Even though the CT was clear, and the CT with contrast was clear, it's like, I'm not leaving until we get to see a neurologist again, and maybe even, you know, have this MRI. So they admitted me. I was supposed to have an MRI on Sunday, which was also supposed to be my departure date for Tennessee. Ended up not getting the MRI, kept getting bumped because I wasn't, you know, priority, so to speak. Monday comes around, still getting bumped, but now I saw a physical therapist who was, you know, doing these different motions. I had to walk with a walker down the hallway, trying to go up and down like the little test bed steps that they had. You know, what was comfortable, what was not comfortable, when was I unsteady, different head motions. I got checked out by a regular doctor, an internal medicine doctor as well. You know, I had no loss of hearing, no sharp hearing pains or earache pains that were sharp. Another doctor came around and said, okay, you know, let's do these other tests. He noticed some vision issue with my left eye, like the timing it took for my left eye to track an object was different than my right eye. Again, I'm still doing the physical therapy in the hospital, using a walker to get around. And all the other tests were coming back good. So it was, I forget what night it was. I think it was late Monday night. I was supposed to be having the MRI on the night shift. So dinner just got delivered, and then they came in and said, hey, we're going to take you down for your MRI in like 15 minutes. It's like, all right, great, I'll take that. So ended up going down for the MRI. The whole process was like maybe 40 minutes door to door. I was probably only in the MRI machine 10, maybe 12 minutes of that. If you've never had an MRI, that's a pretty unique experience. They, you know, pack your head into this device with foam and everything. You can't move your head during the procedure. You hear all these sounds. It sounds like an old arcade game, like playing Centipede. You know, it's like dunk, 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 dunk. And then you hear it on this side, dunk, 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 dunk. And you can start to like go through and you understand what they're doing with all these different scans. So later that evening, the MRI results got posted, and everything seemed clear as well with the MRI. So I have nothing in the stroke area, nothing in the MRI, nothing in the hearing regarding loss, but I'm having this vision issue, and if I close my eyes, I lose all sense of balance. I still need assistance to walk, whether it be someone with me or a cane or the walker, but I can walk and I can pretty well maintain a straight line looking at the horizon. But if I close my eyes, I just would fall over. The interesting part about that is I didn't have any like response. So if I closed my eyes, I wouldn't feel that I was leaning to the left. I just thought I was standing there. No pressure on my foot differently, no body sensing trying to push back. I'd fall right over. So ended up going home on Tuesday with no real answers, but to see a vestibular therapist, which specializes in balance and inner ear. Back and forth with the doctor over the next two days or so. I was able to get an appointment with a vestibular therapist. My wife took me there. I think I used a cane and her help on the other side, to get from the car to them. And then over the course of some testing there, she ruled out benign vertigo because they did all these head position tests and my inner ear balance system was responding, but my eye was still all wacky. And it was so, not to say I didn't have a vestibular vertigo, because now by the time I saw the vestibular therapist, it was almost a week since the onset of symptoms. But it seemed to be a vestibular ocular nerve. So the vestibular inner ear balance system connects to your eyes, through the ocular nerve, and that was causing problems with my ear and my vision and the syncing up of my left eye and my right eye, which was throwing off all of my balance. My brain didn't know how to interpret the different signals, so it thought, oh, you're out of balance. It's like you're on a deep sea fishing boat and you're in this constant rocking motion. So a few weeks of vestibular therapy multiple times a week, plus working with those exercises at home, and I've kind of cleared up quite a bit. Obviously, you just saw them riding a motorcycle. This is only my second full tank of gas, though, so I'm under 400 miles ridden, and it is now August. I guess it's the 13th, August 13th. Still having some issues though, every once in a while with patterns. So I'm still doing my home exercises, but balance wise, I'm good. Both with my eyes open and my eyes closed. But I didn't get on the motorcycle or even try to get on the motorcycle till, gosh, it was pretty much July, with everything going on with the end of school. But I'm back on the bike, still doing therapy, still working out issues, but I feel safe to ride, safe to drive, safe to be on ladders, all that stuff. Still hyper aware of my ear, and I go back to the doctor's on Monday. So that's a quick update. I guess we'll see how that audio worked out with the mic attached. Open up the vents for the way home. And I hope to be back out soon, but with the mini mate, maybe doing a camping trip. Maybe I can squeeze something in with my wife here in the fall. But yeah, I missed going to Tennessee, missed the Tail of the Dragon, Iron Horse Motorcycle Lodge, That was supposed to be like a 2,500 mile trip. And then I also just missed the CMA camp out in western PA. Let me try to loosen this off here. So, yep, so I just missed that as well, and a bunch of buddies out there. But hopefully the fall will still allow some moto camping, and we're going to continue to rack up the miles. All right, with that, I'm going to sign off for now, eat my lunch.